Hi, welcome to Grech RV. My name is David Reagan, and I'm going to show you a few key points on delivery of this Terreno-ion. Let me take you around here. I want to first point out that we install turn signal cameras on the right and left hand side of the vehicle. These cameras operate when you turn your turn signal on, so that helps you be able to see down your vehicle when you're in blind spots and things like that. So that's one thing. I want to come around here to the driver's side of the vehicle, and I want to point out where the fuel fill is for Sprinter vans. So open up the driver's door here, and behind this cover right here is where you're going to find your diesel fuel filler. So keep that in mind. It's kind of a hidden door, but that's where it's at. This on the driver's side is where you're going to have your shore power compartment. Shore power 30 amp service plug. Your black and your gray tank electric valve switches. So these are electrically operated switches for your valves, and you have your pump switch for your macerator. Please do not run that water out of that pump. If you run it dry, is potentially damaging to the pump, so make sure that you're not running that dry. Also, your hose reel switch for your retract. So it's a manual pull out hose and electric retract on this system. And just guide that in by hand as you go, so you can make sure that it's not binding up. And then you have your outside shower assembly here. So you have your cold and your hot water valves here, and then you have a coil hose quick disconnect right here. So you can push the ring back, insert the hose in there, let the ring go, it'll lock it in. If you want to release it, just simply push the ring back and it'll release the hose, and you can disconnect it there. This is where your city water connection is. So this is where you're going to hook up your city water hose for water in the interior of the unit. And remember, you do not need to use the water pump when you use your city water connection. Also, we recommend to use a pressure regulator on your feed hose to this system, so you're protecting your hose and the coach. So use a pressure regulator on your hose connection before you hook up your hose, and then hook your hose up here, and then that'll give you water supply to the interior of the vehicle. This is where your potable water fill is. So this, when you remove this cap, make sure that it is clean around here first. If you need to, wash it off, and then you can remove the cap. Use your hose to fill this with potable water, and this will fill your fresh water holding tank on here. That way you have onboard water, and that is where you're going to be using your water pump, is utilizing the water when you fill this actually here in your holding tank. And below here, underneath your shore power compartment, open up this compartment door. This is where you're going to find your hose reel for your sewer dump. And also right here is where you find your water flush for your black tank. So if you hook up your hose here and turn the hose on for 15 seconds maximum is all you need to do here. Like every 5 to 10 times when you dump your black tank is where it'll spray out and clean that black tank out. Make sure if you use this sprayer in the black tank and this black tank clean out that you have this still hooked up to your sewer and this valve open, and also your black tank valve here open. So when these valves are open, the lights will be flashing. So if you push it and the lights flashing, that means that the valves are open. Make sure that these valves are open when you are doing this black tank flush. And then once you're all done, you can close the handle, shut your valve off down here with the switch, and the light will go out. That'll shut your valve. And then when you want to retract the hose, simply push your waste hose switch, and it'll retract it back into spot. And then you can close all this compartment up, and then you're ready for travel. And you can lock them here. You can also close this one down and lock it as well for travel. Also, I want to point out, this is the exhaust pipe for your Timberline heater system. So whenever this is in a burn, this is going to be creating a lot of heat coming out of here. So be cautious that you're not routing your shore power plug cord through the area where this may do damage to that cord. So just be cautious about that. Let's come around the back side. So let's get to the back of the Terreno here, and I'll show you where the ion battery package is and where your shut-off switches are, your service disconnect switches for your ion system, and your inverter. So we'll lift this drape up here. The compartment where the service disconnect is for your inverter in there. And remember, that's a service disconnect for the inverter. That is not a battery disconnect on an ion unit. So if you turn that service disconnect off, it is going to shut down the battery power to the inverter from the lithium-ion batteries. Then your inverter is not going to operate. And also, if you have the unit plugged into shore power and you're trying to charge the batteries, it is not going to allow the charge to flow to the batteries with that service disconnect off. So there is no reason to turn that off unless they are doing servicing to the inverter or something, or we need to do a manual reset for the inverter. And there is a video on how to do a manual reset on your inverter. Please look for that on our YouTube site as well. So just keep that in mind. This is not a storage compartment, and this is battery storage in here for lithium batteries, and this is where the components are for high current. So please do not use this as a storage compartment. So just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and walk around to the side of the unit and I'll show you some other features here. Okay, so if we look on the passenger side rear corner of this Terreno and we lift up this access panel door here on our lower skirting, it's going to give you access to your 110 volt outlet plugs here, which are GFI protected, and also it gives you access to your cable outlet here for an external TV if you want to hook up a TV and watch TV. So you can watch over the air TV from this point from the antenna on the unit. And then also here on the left hand side is an override for your rear air suspension. So if you are parked and camping and you need to lower the rear air suspension down, you can do that from here. Or if you have a problem with your air compressor, you can actually install and put air into this position and raise the back of the vehicle up. That's in this left rear corner on the vehicle on passenger side rear corner. So let me get you inside and we'll show you some features on the interior of the vehicle as well. Okay, first thing I want to point out on the interior of this one is we are entering into a lounge model. So this lounge model actually has 4 captain's chairs in it. We have 2 different interior models on this unit. We have a lounge like this one, and we have one that's called a tour. So the tour model will not have these 2 captain's chairs in this position. It will have a longer galley in this spot, and also it has a larger refrigerator and a cabinet here on the side for wardrobe and some shelving in there, and we will show you that as well. But what I want to show you on these is there is these captain's chairs, and they actually have the child restraint brackets down in here. So if you wanted to have a child seat in here, you can clip those into the mounts here down here on the bottom of these 2 captain's chairs. This is the only model that we have that on the Terreno and on the Strata on the lounge that have these captain's chairs in there with these mounts. So keep that in mind. The tour models do not have these seats, and the tour models do not have the child seat restraint mechanism built into the seats. This is the only model that has it with these lounge, with these captain's chairs in there. So keep that in mind. On the end of the galley cabinet, you will find a Firefly touchscreen. So on the main homepage right here, you're going to see that you can control your ottomans and your sofa when you want to convert the rear of the unit into the bed. It's very simple touch, and up and down and extend and retract on your ottomans. Lighting control master, so you can control your interior lights on and off with just a simple touch of a button. One button on, one button off, and then there's other lighting control pages. I'll show you that real quick. Extend your and retract of your awning. The extend is going to get locked out when you have the ignition on, and just keep that in mind. You will not be able to extend the awning, but you can retract it when your ignition is on. And then you'll find your tank monitors here in the top right hand corner. It shows your tank levels, your water pump. Remember, you only need the water pump when you're running off of your fresh water tank. You do not need the water pump on when you're running off city water connection. Tank heaters, that will initiate the heating blankets on the fresh water tank underneath and the gray water tank underneath. There is not a heating pad on the black tank because it's mounted on the interior of all of our vans. Have The black tank mounted on the interior side of the vehicle, so they do not have a heating blanket on the black tank, just on the gray tank and on the freshwater tank. So keep that in mind as well. So your lighting control page, you can control your lights on and off, and any light that has an arrow up and down on it is dimmable. And this lighting control master, remember, this only turns off the interior lights. It will not turn off exterior lights. So if you turn on exterior lights, then you need to turn them off manually. They will not turn on and off from the lighting master. So just keep that in mind. So if you're going to bed at night, you want to turn all the lights off and you hit the lighting master off and you have exterior lights on, they will still be on. So you manually have to turn those off. Don't forget that one. Next page is your electrical settings page. This page is showing you that all the different settings for your shore power, and you can set it at 15, 20, or 30. So depending on what shore power you're plugged into, make sure that's set accordingly. Also, this is where you turn your inverter on and off right here, so you can enable it or disable it. In this location, it'll show you if you're plugged into shore power, it'll say pass through right here in this location. This charger where it says no charge, because we're not plugged into shore power, this is only a charger indication when you're plugged into shore power. This is the charger from the inverter. This is not the charger from the engine. On ion units, there is a secondary alternator, 280 amp alternator on ion units like we are in right now. So this, even with the engine running, is still going to say no charge right here. Make sure that you don't get confused on that, because this is only indicating charge when you're plugged into shore power. So what it's doing is it's charging from the inverter, not from the engine when you're plugged in. So that's when this will change. So don't get confused there. The screen went out because I have it on auto dimming. So the next page that we want to go to is your climate control page. So climate control page, this one is controlling your air conditioner only. So if you want your air conditioner on, you can push the cool button and it'll automatically control the fan speeds, low or high. If you actually turn the fan on and low, it'll come on, it'll stay on low, or if you turn it on high, it'll come on and stay on high. The only way to turn the fans off is to deselect the cool and to leave it in auto mode. Eventually, there's a time delay, but the fans will turn off. So just keep that in mind. This is your front vent fan control. So if you want to open the fan or the vent, you can push the button, it'll open. If you want to turn the fan on, you can push the button and it'll turn the fan motor on. You can control your speeds, low, medium, or high. If you want to turn the fan back off, you can push this in the off position. It'll turn the fan off and it'll close the fan back down. This also has a vent fan feature on there. If the vent is open and it starts to rain, the vent will automatically close, but you have to make sure that your battery switch is on and there's power to the unit for that rain sensor to actually work and close the fan down. So if you don't have power on and you walk away from the unit and your vent is open and it starts to rain, it's not going to close. So keep that in mind. The next page is your shade. So you have Shade Master and you can control all the shades on one touch of a button. They'll all go up or they'll all go down, and keep in mind that the shade on the door only operates when the door is closed, and you can operate the shades individually if you want. You can stop them in the middle of the up, or you can stop them in the middle of down just by simply touching the button again. So if you want to push a shade in the down position, just push the button and the shade will start to go down. If you wanted to stop, just simply push it again and it'll stop. If you wanted to go back up, simply push the button and it'll go back up. You also have a power screen button right here for up and down, so that will control the power screen on the very back doors. Remember, all of our shades in the unit, except for the shade that's in the bathroom, are all power. So do not grab them, don't try to yank them down or push them back up. They are only operated from the Firefly screen and or from the Firefly app through electrically operated shades. So the only mechanical shade, manual shade we have on all of our units is the shade that's in the bathroom. So don't grab a hold of these shades, you will do damage to them. So electrically operated only. The next screen is your service settings page, so you can control the brightness of your screen up and down. Auto dimming is what allows the screen to go blank and black when you're not using it over a period of time, so it'll black out. So for at nighttime, if you don't want the screen on all the time, you can just let it black out. Cleaning mode is when you push it, it'll stay in cleaning mode, so you can actually wipe and clean the screen off, so you're not adjusting a bunch of stuff when you're trying to clean the fingerprints and all that stuff off of your screen. Eventually, after 15 seconds, it will come back on and operate again, so don't be alarmed that you hit it. It will automatically revert back to operating mode again. Fahrenheit is where you change your settings for your temperature on your air conditioning. It'll change it to Celsius or Fahrenheit there. Mobile app is where you can download your mobile app icon right here with your camera. That will download the Mirror app. Make sure it is actually downloading the Mirror app. And then once you download that, it will give you the Mirror ID. Make sure you're on your correct Mirror ID, and then put in your PIN number, and then it will sync to the system, and then you can operate the unit from your phone or your tablet or your iPad, whatever you have there. You can pretty much operate everything that is on this screen on all these different pages here from the app. So it's very, very useful tool, and you can use it just like a remote control. It's very nice. This is where you control your clock settings, and that's pretty much it. If you have any more information on this screen and the Firefly screen, please refer to the GrechRV.com website and go to the YouTube page that we have a direct link to that, and click videos, and you can find more information in regards to the Firefly touchscreen there. On the front of the lounge models and the Terrenos, there's a 24-inch smart TV. So this TV actually has wireless headphones that operate the sound from this front TV. There is no external speakers on this television. So this television only has sound from the wireless headphones. Keep that in mind. In the cabinet on this side is going to be where your Blu-ray DVD player is. That is distributed from the DVD player to the front TV and the rear TV. Also your controller for your solar charger, your Timberline heater control system, and also your antenna control. So your antenna control is where you're going to be controlling your source from your antenna to your television. So if this source button is pushed in and the light is green, you are going to be using the antenna on the roof for digital receiving of TV signals for your television stations. If you have this button out and the light is off, it changes the source to your shore power inlet for your cable, your park cable inlet. So if you're at an RV park and you plug into cable there, you want to have this button in the off position and the light out. But if you want to use your antenna, push the button in and the light is on, then you're utilizing the antenna on the roof. Your Timberline heater system here, we have a subsequent video as well on instructions on how this works, but I'll run through some stuff here real quick for you. But if you want to get more in depth and more information on this, please refer to the video for the Timberline heater. You can find that on GrechRV.com and direct you to the YouTube site as well, and you can get the information there. So please look at that if you want to get more information, if I'm not covering enough for you. But the first thing you want to do on here is you want to select the heat source for your Timberline heater, and there's two different heat sources on here. The first heat source is your electrical element heat source, is on the bottom right hand corner. Keep in mind this heat source only works when you're plugged into shore power. So if you select this icon, it will start the system up, but it will not continue to make any hot water or even heat in the system unless you are plugged into shore power. So this icon will turn on, the pump system will turn on, but you will have no heat generation in the system unless you are plugged into shore power. So don't be confused that this is going to give you heat because it's on. The only way that you're going to get any heat out of the system when you're not plugged into shore power is to use the fuel-fired burner, and that's this icon on the bottom left-hand corner. So if you turn that on, this is the icon in the fuel-fired burner that you're going to be wanting to use when you're not plugged into shore power. So this is the only heat source that you're going to have on your heating system when you're not plugged into shore power. So if you touch that on, it takes 2 to 5 minutes for the system to start up and to start generating heat. So keep that in mind. If you want heat in the system, you have to have the fuel-fired burner on, and it takes 2 to 5 minutes for it to start making heat. If you have the electrical element plugged in, you have the shore power plugged in and the electrical element is on, it will also make heat, but it'll take a while for it to heat up. So it's just like your engine, it takes a while for the system to start building heat before you really start seeing any performance out of that. The top left-hand corner, it looks like a hose spigot that you would hook your hose up to at your house. So if you select that, let's see if I can get that selected. There we go. If you select that right there, that changes the performance of the heating system, so you get better water heater performance. So for example, if you want to take a shower, then push that icon on there and that will stay on for the first initial setting is 30 minutes, and you can change those settings up to 60 minutes. So the maximum that will stay on is 60 minutes for 1 hour, but that changes the water heater performance. So you get better water heater performance with that icon on. If you don't have the icon on, you're still going to get hot water out of the system as long as you have a heat source selected. So don't think you need to have that hot water heater icon, a performance icon on to get hot water. You will get hot water with either one of these on. Remember, the right one is only on shore power, so it only works when you're on shore power. The dial here, this lit up in blue, is for your furnace heat for interior cabin temperature. Right now it's showing 59 degrees. If I want to have the furnace turn on and warm things up, you can take your finger and dial that around, and you can dial it up to, say, there you go, 72 degrees. So if you want it 72 degrees in the cabin, then dial that thing up to 72 degrees. As long as you have a heat source selected, that furnace will start to blow fans through it and start heating the cabin temperature up until it reaches 72 degrees, and then it'll shut the system off. Remember, this is not going to work unless you have a heat source selected. So either hot water or furnace is not going to work unless you have a heat source selected. If you want more information on this, please refer to the videos that we have at grechrv.com and our YouTube page. So redirect there. That's just the basics on that one, and I'll turn the system off right now. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the accessories and the features of the Galley cabinet on the Terreno. All of our models actually have a stainless steel farm style sink in them with a pull-out stainless faucet, which has a sprayer on there, so you can spray your sink down and all that stuff. It's very nice. It has a spray and a flow feature. Hot and cold here, just like a normal faucet would be at your home. A nice sink insert here, so you can use this for a bigger prepping area and things. On the models that have the ion option is where you're going to get an induction cooktop. So this induction cooktop, it works on induction style pans. So you can find out if you have an induction style pan pretty easily by looking at the bottom. It'll say IND or for induction, or you can take a magnet. If a magnet sticks to the bottom of the pan, then it's going to work on this cooktop. Okay, so this cooktop is available only on ion units, and if you have a unit that has a generator or propane on board, it's going to have an LP or a propane cooktop in this position, and it does not have an option for an induction cooktop on propane units. So keep that in mind as well. But look for the video if you want to have more information on how the induction cooktop works. We actually have a video coming out there as well to inform you and instruct you on how to operate this induction cooktop. So watch for that as well. All of our units actually have a microwave convection air fryer in them as well. This microwave will work on this lithium-ion unit from the inverter and on shore power. So if you have a unit that has a generator on there and propane, this will only work whenever the generator is running or when you are plugged into shore power. It will not work off of the inverter if you have a generator unit. Keep that in mind, okay? Refrigerator freezer here. So you have a refrigerator freezer, so a refrigerator compartment, and it has a freezer compartment up on the top of there. So that's actually pretty nice. This works off of 12 volts. So whenever you have your battery switch on, this refrigerator is going to be on. There is an off switch inside if you actually want to turn the refrigerator off and not have the refrigerator on. So if you're not going to be using the refrigerator, but you want to use all the rest of the coach, you can actually physically turn that switch off interior of the refrigerator and they'll shut it down. So it's not running for no reason. Okay. So nice drawers here underneath. These actually have mechanical locks on them, so make sure that this button is out when you close the drawer, and then this tab will go behind the lock, and then you physically lock the drawer by pushing the tab in. That locks this tab from coming out, and the drawer won't slide in and out while driving. So don't try to close this drawer with a button in, because it will not close properly, because this is going to get caught in there. Make sure this button's out. You can close the drawer and then lock it in. So just make sure you do that. On the overhead cabinets, you have a push button handle here and sprung hinges. So the hinges have springs built into them. That's what holds the cabinet doors open and actually holds them closed. And on the interior side of the cabinet, you have this nice lighting here that's controlled through the Firefly system. So on the Firefly system, you can turn these on and off, and you can control these lights from your Firefly app as well. So download that and you can control all the interior lighting and a lot more functions from the Firefly app. Let's take a look at back features here. Underneath on the passenger side, underneath the ottoman, is where you're going to find your battery cutoff switches for your lithium batteries under here. So if you look at this silver plate up in this location, you're going to see two switches there with blue light rings around them. So those blue light rings are on right now. That's indicating that your batteries are in the on position. This is the switches that you're going to be using to turn your batteries off if you want to store your vehicle. So if you're going to store your vehicle, what you want to do is you want to push those switches in and hold the switch in until the light goes out. So I'll demo one for you here. If I push and hold this switch in, the light is going to go out. When the light goes out, like it did right there, that is going to shut the battery down. So that's what you want to do when you store these batteries. So download the Lithionics battery monitor app to be able to monitor your charge levels and percentage of charge on your batteries, as well as the time remaining to charge your batteries and the time remaining for the batteries to be on until they actually shut themselves off. But when you go into storage on your batteries, you want to make sure that you follow the storage procedure for your lithium batteries, and you can find that storage procedure in your owner's manual, and you can find that owner's manual as well on grechrv.com. And just select your model and scroll down to the bottom, and where it says vehicle dimensions and specifications is where you can download the electronic owner's manual. And in that owner's manual is going to give you a lot of useful information as far as how the vehicle operates, and also the more important thing is how to store your lithium batteries. So it's very critical that you store them properly so you don't have problems and issues with them later on. So storage procedure, look for that. And when you want to come out of storage and you want to turn your batteries back on, simply push and release the button and the light ring will come back on. If that light ring is on solid, that means that the batteries are on and they're not being charged. If the light rings are flashing, even if they're alternating back and forth, don't be alarmed. That just means that the batteries are charging. So that is a normal state of flashing when the batteries are charging. Okay, so don't be alarmed with that. Below that is a sea-level main home screen there, so you can see what your tank levels are, but that's the same system that displays the information on the Firefly screen, so that just needs to be in there for that system to work properly. Inside this area also is the main brain for your Firefly system. No servicing needed to be done there or anything, so but just keep in mind there is a wiring diagram or a layout there for pinouts on that Firefly system. And in this location also is the Bluetooth module for your Mira app, so that's what's housed in this compartment. On the opposite side of the vehicle, underneath the ottoman on the driver's side, behind this access panel, you're going to find your 110 volt circuit breaker panel and your 12 volt fuses clearly marked. If you ever have a problem with anything not operating in the vehicle, please go to this location, check your circuit breakers for anything 110 volt wise, and or your 12 volt fuses here that may be, you know, bad at that point. If you have a 12 volt fuse that is bad, it should have a red light next to it that's lit up indicating that that fuse is bad. Here is where you're going to find your motorized battery switch. This motorized battery switch is operated by the red rocker switch below the touchscreen at the end of the galley cabinet right where you entered the vehicle. So there's no reason to manually turn this switch on or off manually. Just this motorized switch is controlled by that rocker switch up there. If you want to shut down your house power, turn off that red rocker switch below that touchscreen, and it'll motorize and turn this battery switch off right here. So not necessary to turn this switch on or off manually. Okay, above this is your 12-volt memory fuse panel. So this feeds power to your Firefly system for your memory and for your heater system for the memory on the heater system. So keep that in mind there. All right, let me show you the TV and your smoke alarm and your rear Firefly touchscreen. Okay, on the back side of your bathroom cabinet here, you're going to find the secondary Firefly touchscreen. Now, the functions of this secondary Firefly touchscreen is identical to the Firefly touchscreen in the front of the unit. So, like I said earlier, you can always refer to Firefly touchscreen instructions on our website, grechrv.com, and click the icon to redirect to YouTube and videos. There's a lot of instructional videos there. This is one of them for the Firefly touchscreen. Above here is where you're going to see the QR code download for your Firefly touchscreen app. So the Mirror app, so you can control all the functions of the Firefly touchscreen from the Mirror app, so you can download it there. Also, we give you a QR code download for the Lithionics battery monitor. This QR download is going to direct you to Lithionics battery website. You can scroll through all the information there and go to the bottom of the screen there basically when you're there, and you can see Lithionics battery monitor. That's what you want to download. Or you can go direct to the App Store and just punch in Lithionics. So it's Lithionics battery monitor. So if you put in Lithionics battery monitor under the search, it'll pull it right up, and you want to download it that way as well. That's how you monitor your lithium batteries in the lithium battery ion units from Lithionics. So I'm going to pull this up right here, and I'm going to show you what the app actually looks like. So I'm connecting to this unit here right now, and this is what the app looks like. So when you first open the app, you're going to see a bunch of batteries here because we're in the shop and I have a bunch of them here, but it'll show 2 batteries on your unit when you come up and then pull that screen up. So all the rest of these won't show. If they don't show, push the discover button, and then it'll pull up the batteries, and the green here on the side is may not be green on your unit. Depends on how far away you are from it, because it is Bluetooth. That is the Bluetooth signal from the batteries. So don't be alarmed saying, oh, my batteries are low, because that's in red. If you notice these down here, they're in red. It's just because I'm far enough away from them. They're not picking up the Bluetooth signal very well. So this one I know that it's this unit because the Bluetooth signal is very strong. So this will tell you, once you click on one of those 2 batteries that you're going to have, it'll tell you the percentage of charge that you have on your batteries. If it's being charged, it'll show right here. If it's being discharged, it'll show right here. So if it's being charged, it'll be in green. If it's showing discharge, it'll be in red like this one. So this one's showing that it's being discharged at 11 amps, and time remaining, it'll show you in red down here. If it's in green, that means it's being charged, and in time remaining, it'll tell you how long it's going to take to charge your batteries. So this is the only way that you can tell how long it's going to take to charge your batteries, or how long it'll take for the batteries to be discharged. So that right there is dependent on how much the batteries are being loaded, as far as how long the batteries will last, or how much the batteries need to be charged as far as how long the batteries will take to charge back up. Now there's 3 different ways these batteries charge on these units. So The first way is you have solar panels on the top. They will charge with solar, and they will charge with shore power. When you're plugged into your shore power, it'll change that inverter over to a charger, and it'll charge them that way. And also there is a 280 amp alternator mounted on the engine, so that engine will charge your batteries as well. So it will charge actually your batteries at idle on this unit, and it'll charge faster when you're driving. So the fastest way to charge your batteries on this unit is while driving. It will charge from the inverter when you're plugged in, but it'll take longer to do that. So just keep that in mind. The only way to tell if your batteries are charging and how long they're going to be taking the charge is from the app right here. So download the Lithionics Battery Monitor app. Okay, next thing is your TV back here is the same TV as it is in the front of the unit. This is a smart TV, so you can stream to this TV. You can actually pull over-the-air digital TV signal from your antenna on the roof, and you do have to search for television stations and all that every time you fire this TV up, and there is a video on how to do that, so look at that video as well. That gets more in depth as far as how to program your TV, different source selections on your TV, and also how to search for TV stations, so look at that video as well. Below the TV is your sound bar. So this sound bar works with this rear TV. So this is not like the front TV on this model. The front TV, remember, only has sound from the wireless headphones. This has sound from the sound bar. So this is a Bluetooth sound bar too. So you can Bluetooth from your phone if you want to listen to music, and or it has sound from the TV from the sound bar as well. So also on the rear of these units, it has a swivel TV mount bracket. So if you pull the release here, it will release the latch in the back, and you can pull the TV out and actually swivel the TV and pull it around and watch TV, whichever position you want to have it, and then put it back into position when you're ready to travel, and it'll lock back in. Above the TV, you're going to find your smoke alarm. So this smoke alarm is a 9-volt battery operated smoke alarm. So make sure that you do the test on this smoke alarm before you go out camping every time, or every beginning of every season when you go camping. Make sure you check that 9-volt battery, okay? We want to make sure that that battery is good so your smoke alarm is working properly. Also, I want to show you as well the cabinets. Well, yeah, anyway, just cut it up properly. Okay, also in the back of these units, you have a 110 volt outlet mounted on each side of the unit, and also a USB and a USB-C right here for phone charging. Remember, these outlets only work whenever the inverter is on or when you're plugged into shore power. So if you have a unit that is a generator unit, these are going to work off of inverter, they will work off a generator, and they will work off whenever you're plugged into shore power. But if you have an ion unit, obviously there's no generator mounted on board, so they only work when the inverter's on and when you're in shore power. On the back of your unit, you're going to find a mount pole that's mounted in the upper cabinet above the rear couch. So remove that post. This is for your lagoon table. Make sure that this is loose. On this post right here, there's a magnet mounted on this post. So when you insert this into the lagoon table mount bracket in front of this ottoman right here, you want to make sure that these two magnet and the switch is lined up, and then you can tighten up the post here, and that will allow the ottoman to not operate. It actually disables the operation of this ottoman when this post is in the position that it is in, so it does not do any damage to the post or to your ottoman or to the framing below that. So just keep that in mind, that this ottoman is not going to operate when this post is installed. So when you remove this back out of here, then this ottoman will go back to operating mode. Also, if you notice that there's speakers mounted in the rear cabinets here in the back, these speakers actually operate from the factory front radios. So whatever you're playing on the front radio is going to be playing on these rear speakers as well. Okay, in the bathroom here, I want to point out that all this is all fiberglass, so this is very easily cleaned. When you want to use your shower, there's a faucet down here. You simply just pull the faucet out on the hose, and you can insert it into the bracket to hold the faucet to make it into a shower, or you can actually just use it and use it as a sprayer. This operates just like a normal faucet would as far as the hot and cold on the faucet. There's also a mirror here that has a clip that holds it in position, so you unclip it from the mirror, and then you have a nice mirror here, so you can clip it back in the position right there. There's also a shower curtain in here, so when you take a shower you can pull this across the door opening, and that'll protect the water spray from getting out and keep it inside the shower area. Also, I want to point out that there is a nice clothesline right here, so unscrew the lock here for the clothesline and then just simply pull it out and clip it on to the other side here that's above the shower bracket, and that'll give you a clothesline. And tighten this up, that'll tighten the clothesline, so when you want to hang stuff from here, it's not just going to be sagging down. So, and when you want to retract it, unlock it and then simply allow it to retract back into the holder. Also, we have a nice ceramic toilet in here. So that's a nice foot flush ceramic toilet with a nice cover here on the top of it. So make sure that you're flushing only RV toilet paper in here and no personal hygiene products down through this toilet, okay? So only body waste and RV toilet paper. So if you flush anything other than that, you're going to be doing damage to your macerator on this unit. So you don't want to have that happen. Make sure it's RV toilet paper only and no personal hygiene products down there, okay? So just keep that in mind. And there you have it. There's a walkthrough of the Terreno. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video.